Is it visible now?
Yes, Kabilesh, now it is.
Sure. So this is a small intro about me. Hope Santana has already given a brief introduction. So open source technology, I just love open source technologies, building solutions on MySQL and cloud-based uh, things. And I'm an active tech speaker and a blogger. And recently, I was just joined the AWS community builder also. Okay, so these are the services offered by MyDBOps. We have both consulting services and managed services. So we focus on the top open source database technologies such as MySQL, Mongo, and Postgres. Okay. So yes, small intro about MyDBOps. We are a service-based company, as said, servicing on the top open source databases, and we are founded in 2016. Now we have grown in head numbers like 80 members team, and we have assisted more than 5,500 plus customers across the globe. And we are also an AWS specialty partner for databases and also a PCA certified organization. Okay, so these are the small glimpse of our customers, Flipkart, Swiggy, Yulo, and many more is there. Its slide is very small to add. Okay. So this will be the agenda for our today's talk. So know your application, that's a major thing to know, and plan your hardware capacity, how to plan your hardware capacity for the upcoming sale or the season, and validate your config as per your hardware capacity and provision, and embrace your changes. That means patch and upgrade your system to the latest uh, code and scale based upon the workload, pattern of the workload by deciding the pattern of the workload, and plan for your failures. And finally, observability is a key. How to observe what is going on and what is not. Okay. So before jumping onto the detailed thing of the agenda, let's go on to a slide why and when. Okay. So as you can see, we are in winter. So this is a small glimpse from the Game of Thrones. And so why I have used this image is like we are in winter, that we are in the period of the year, that is we are in the October or November, that is a entire sale period over the earth. That means we have many sales like Black Friday sales, Cyber Monday, Mintra, and recently we have completed the biggest sale of India, like the BBD and the Big Billion Day sale, and the Great Indian Sale from Amazon has been completed. And next, there is a lot of upcoming sale or being planned. That is a Black Friday, Cyber Monday, and festival season sale, and end of season sale, and whatever, right? So what do they expect from the database? Okay, so, and a recent survey states that 2 out of the top e-commerce site is powered by MySQL. That means the MySQL database is powering all these e-commerce sites, whether from the payment, transaction, user interaction. So everything is powered by the MySQL. So as it is a sale time, this is a period of time you can't afford the MySQL system or the MySQL databases to go down. So even when there is a slight slowness or a failure in the system, you tend to lose your customers. And also again, stating on to a recent user experience survey, when a site becomes slow by 2.5 seconds or a max 3 seconds, the user tend to move to a competitor. For example, if you are surfing on a Flipkart site for some product and your site seems to be low or adding to the cart is failing, obviously you tend to move to your the competitor, that is the Amazon or other service provider, to get your product done, to deliver your product. So this is a great loss to the company, and this also loses the credibility of the company and also the reliability of their product and also their service. Okay. Okay. So what can we do, or what can we do to guarantee this MySQL is up and always up and running to handle this high trafficking events across the globe? Okay. Now let's see some basic recommended practices that should be done. Okay. So the first thing is first, like know your application. So why I brought this as a first slide is that I think this, I feel from experience, this is a major part of it. Like knowing your application and tuning according to your application is must. Like uh, you can do the following, like for example, you have an application, um, create a breakout session with your application team, sit with your application. Okay, know your application flow. That means what is the flow it is touching, whether it's a payment application or it's some user interactive application. Categorize your application. So this is broadly classified into two applications, that is a synchronous application and an asynchronous application. So for example, for a synchronous application, you can take example as a file upload. That means, so till the file is being uploaded, the session or the interactive session will be open, and uh, it can wait. That means it will be slower one. The synchronous will be a slower one. So asynchronous you can consider it as a social media site where you will get an immediate read and written responses. Okay, and also understand your pattern of workload. So what is a peak load? Whether it's a morning or the midday you're having the peak load, or it's a night. Okay, based upon the peak load, uh, suggest the tune, and also make sure and analyze your read write ratio. Sit with your application developer whether this application is a read intensive application or a write intensive application. So if it is a read and intensive application, whether this application reads can be directly pointed to a replica. If it can be pointed to a replica, what is the maximum replication lag threshold it can withstand? Those things has to be considered before moving to. And also, again, coming back to the next thing, that is the connection pooling and connection timeout values. This is very trivial with respect to the application as well as to the DB. Okay, I'll just say a small example. So we have worked with Flipkart for this reason, Big Billion Day sale. So wherein they have some part of application which doesn't have a connection pooling. That means the application is very much of a connection intensive. So when there is a peak sale, you can see the connections shooting up to 5K, 12K, 15K, and eventually what happens is it just breaks down your system. So to avoid those situations, you can introduce a connection pooling at the DB layer. For example, introducing a proxy SQL can leverage it, and also know your application timeout. So according to that, match the timeout in the DB and also set it accordingly. And also the last thing is know the impact of an application going down. For example, there might be a under a microservice architecture, there can be a n number of applications or module, for example, payment, recommendations, and whatever. For example, a payment application cannot be afforded to go down at any point in time, right? So maintain a strict rules or HA and build a tooling around it. For example, if it is a recommended, it is a recommendation engine, it is allowed to go down for some point in time. Like for example, 30 minutes it can be down during a peak sale time. Okay, so know the impact of an application going down and tune your databases accordingly. Okay, so next comes the important thing: plan your hardware capacity. Okay, so this is one of the important aspect of the scaling for the peak event. Okay, let me give some examples. Okay, so this is not the first sale you might be witnessing or the business might be witnessing. So just sit with your business team or with the managers or the whoever who has the knowledge. Get the what is the peak traffic expected or the peak sale event. For example, this for this sale we are just expecting a X amount of the benefit or the X amount of revenue or X amount of the sale to be done. Just get those numbers and profile your system. That means profile load test your MySQL and application with the 2x of your previous peak traffic, so that you can avoid surprises. Okay, so these are some of the load testing tools like a JMeter from the application end. You can use a MySQL Slab to replay your slow logs, and you can also use Percona playback. And with our recent sale event, right, with the Big Billion Day, we have deployed, we have created our own DB replay tool, which collects the general log queries and replays. Okay, and having said that, the 2x is also not enough in certain cases. For example, it's all a application traffic, or for example, if the iPhone, you say the recent sale even in the Big Billion Day, we saw the iPhone 12 was slashed to the price of 37K or 36K. That is when you can see, some users may not buy the product, but the surfing of the that is reading the web traffic might be increased. So slightly plan for the surprises also. That means over provision your hardware capacity by 25%. And coming back to the next, I'm just concerned about the disk. Okay, separate your log directory and a data directory. Okay, I have, from my experience, I have seen many cases wherein the log directory and the data directory reside on the same drive or the same LVM partition, so that the logs grew and bring down your databases. And also have a clear log rotation policies for a slow log, error log, and other steps. And make sure you cannot continuously add your disk. As the data grows, you cannot continuously add your disk. Make sure that your disk is on an LVM with a extensible reserve space of more than 30%, and also do your archivals and log flushing and optimization on a regular interval. Okay. And if you're on a database service, that means like an RDS or other service providers, use storage auto scaling as well as predict your storage growth prior by using tools such as PMM and other things, and provision the disk. Okay. So next important config is, next, as we have now done with the hardware capacity planning, now let's come to the config. Revisit your major configurations, right? There might be times like you have increased your upsized your system, and there are chances that you might have not touched the configuration or revisited your configuration. This can again lose the credibility of increasing your RAM or the hardware capacity. Like just stick to the basic, like 70 to 80% for the buffer pool, and also allocate your memory. That means memory wisely to your thread-based buffers. For example, I have seen situations where a thread-based buffer, such as a temp table or a heap table size, has been set to 1 GB, and when your threads increases or a connection increases, they spike up and eventually break your system. Okay, allocate your memory wisely on a thread-based systems, and also again redo log size. Okay, so create your profile your write capacity and calculate the redo logs accordingly. That means redo log is nothing but the InnoDB log file size according to your workload pattern. Increase it and keep it in a safe limit. And also, major thing to consider is beware of your OS limits. That means, so OS also imposes certain limits on the database to create connections and open a file, that is the open files limit. And also with the recent kernels and the recent operating system, we have a task max limit that can also affect your connection and task which is running within your MySQL. And also configure swap for databases. The next important thing is patch and upgrade your MySQL system. So MySQL being a trivial part of the this RDBMS or the e-commerce site, you should always patch and keep your systems up to date. See, I have seen customers stating that, for example, so this DB is running fine, why should we patch it? Why should we even try to upgrade it, and we should go for a downtime? I said no, you should have at least a upgrade plans and patches, because the system might be running smooth for today, but tomorrow you might have a new release or that can break your system, hitting a bug on the DB system. So upgrading your system provides a below advantages, that is improved stability. You can have your code path with MySQL improved, and with bug fixes, certain major bug fixes fixed, and also new features open. For example, for giving an example, you can have a ranking system or a gaming system wherein you have to publish ranks of after completing a game. With 5.6, this feature is not available. For example, a generated column in 5.7, from 5.7 it is available. So that can leverage this new features that can avoid a lot of coding. That means the developer effort in bringing that into the code from the application end. And also it can improve the performance. And these are some of the downsides of not having a system upgraded to the recent version. Okay, and instability and may cause crash as said by hitting a bug, or you can have a degraded performance. Again, one thing to note is plan your upgrades and as well as the patches. Read the release notes, exactly what being fixed and what is not, is a regular what are you're facing, like the major bugs is fixed, and also beware of regressions. So in certain cases, for example, upgrading from 5.6 to 5.7 can have certain queries regression, that means can perform slow due to some SQL mode changes or an optimizer switch. That should be planned accordingly. Okay. Scaling. So this is not a single word of scaling. Scaling meant to a lot, because all the system has to scale for the upcoming traffic or whatever, right? So I'm just segregating scaling into 4 major categories. That is scaling up. Usually it is said as a scaling with a credit card, or means just add your hardware, throw your hardware and scale the system. Okay, this can help a bit to a certain extent, but not actually. So, for example, in certain cases, it is really needed to upgrade your system. That means you have reached the threshold limit of your CPU or a disk or IOPS, whatever. In that cases, it is perfectly all right to upscale your system. I have seen companies and customers, they just throw the hardware to scale the problem without knowing the actual root cause, right? That is actually wrong. This can affect the cost with respect to the cost of owning the system, and also with increased scaling up your system, make sure that you tune your configuration, that is the buffer pools and major things accordingly, and also always keep your disk in check. This is for the vertical scaling. And scale out, so always plan to scale out. So this is the best approach of scaling out, where you have redundancy of your data, as well as in case of a failover or things, it can really help out. So for example, in a cluster, you can add cluster, in the sense I'm speaking about the Percona DB cluster or the InnoDB cluster, can add your read throughput, as well as increase your write over failover capabilities also. And also, bare minimally, you can have an replicas to scale out your read traffic. And again, coming back to the next thing, so for a write intensive system or a asynchronous system wherein the response is very hugely needed, you can shard your databases. That means distribute your database among the available nodes. The sharding can be done in two major ways. That is by building a robust application code to be shard aware. That means, for example, consider a simple example. For example, we have multiple warehouses in, for example, I'm just taking an example of Flipkart, wherein there is a multiple warehouses, and the warehouse system can be sharded based upon the different warehouses spread across the country. Like, and the application can make the shard aware. That means this application for a particular warehouse, it can map to that particular shard and call the writes and do that. And to the out of the box from the DB layer, you can have BTs for MySQL that does a good job with respect to the sharding. Again, coming back to that read scaling. So if you see on the internet, right, so 80% of the traffic which is come to a site is mostly read intensive. Okay. Try to segregate your read intensive queries also. For example, there are queries that really needs, you can have the reading as a two-way, that is the OLTP and the OLAP queries. For example, OLTP queries come along with your application traffic. That means it is part of your transaction, and also other static web reads can be made from that. Okay, so to split your workloads, and that is to segregate your workload from the application, you can use this SQL aware load balancers such as Proxy SQL and MaxScale. So the beauty of this Proxy SQL and MaxScale is that it can provide an on-the-fly read-write split with the minimal changes or minimal downtime to the application code. And also this has an for example, Proxy SQL has a feature called rewritable queries. That means you can write your own query rules to route the traffic to a particular replica and these things. And also you can do this thing, that's point a read-only application to directly to the server, that is a slave or a replica. And to boost the read performance, you can also use the intermediate caching layers such as the Redis, Memcache, sorry for the typo, Memcache, and also Proxy SQL supports an on-the-wire caching for the queries based upon the TTL. TTL is nothing but a time to live. Again, coming back to the write scaling thing, sharding, right? The distributing of data, and also again distributes your write, so that can make your write scalable, and also keep your writes always as light as possible. That means chunk your transaction, queue your writes. Okay, don't make any huge writes. For example, don't make single bulk updates of 1 GB, 2 GB payload, 3 GB payload. So try to keep your updates slash delete or insert within a ranges of 1,000, okay, and in small chunks. And also check your schema level. For example, in certain cases, use a static schema. For example, a phone number. it's by default it's 10 to 12 digits with the code. You can have a static schema like integer or int of 10 rather than having a bigger value that can also cause up more writes onto the disk, causing heavy IOPS utilization, memory, and those things. So, and also remove unused or duplicate indexes that can also reduce your write amplification and improve your write throughput. So again, this is an important thing. Like when you do a prepare for your sale event, prepare for your failures too. Okay, plan your failures. So as a source of truth, at least have a one dedicated master failover. That means hot standby for a master, because everything is running inside a hardware, whether it's a cloud premises or an on premises, everything can fail. Consider even if there is a failure, you should fail fast and recover fast. That should be the strategy. Again, you have a hot standby, then you can have a delayed slave that can save you from an unwanted delete or a rogue application user or a rogue human error deleting an unwanted data if it is found on time. Okay. Again, this is an important thing. Document your and distribute your plan of failures. Okay, because everyone should be on the same page to avoid confusion and also avoid confusion in the time of a chaos. Like, I said chaos in the during an application slowness or a complete outage, what should be the done, and mock your failure plans. Okay, predict your failure and try to do the failure testing fair. And this is one important thing. So when the time of a failure, right, during a late flight, the people to get the people onto the call and fix the issue. So that is a major important task with respect to that, to have this issue resolved or sorted on time, have a round the clock support, to have the consultant pulled in. So for example, in the last BBD, MyDB did a great job scaling all their servers. We had shifts covering all time. We have people available throughout monitoring the system and those things. And next important thing is plan your degradation levers. For example, if you feel or see some slowness with respect to major critical applications, rather than going down, pull your degradation levers from the application. For example, you can throttle your writes or make a queue for the writes, or you can kill some of the unwanted things, like the recommendation engine can be shut down for 30 minutes, and throttling your user request and throttling your web application flow. And also coming back to the DB, you can have a list of playbooks. For example, I'm just giving a small example here. So you can turn off your durability for this particular period when you feel the slowness, that it might be to the disk. You can make the flashing slow for the time period to give some immediate relax. And also you can throttle the queuing inside the InnoDB by making the InnoDB thread concurrency and also InnoDB concurrency tickets. Okay, and in a final note, it is better to run in a degraded mode rather than completely going blank. And the final thing, observability, means I said it's observability in the sense keenly monitor your system, have a close eye on watching your system, and even a small spike, right? If it is unnoticed, or it can exaggerate things and completely break your system. So here is a small customizable dashboard which we have used for the reasons fail event. You can club these dashboards and have a clear picture of monitoring, closely monitor your system. And PMM does a very good job which helps in monitoring and observability of the system. You can also customize your dashboard, and this PMM it also helps in reviewing your metrics and also improving further. For example, it also has a query analytic thing. You can analyze your slow queries introduced, what is the time of introduction, tune your queries, and you can improve and scale a lot. So I think we have reached the end. Thank you.
Thank you, Kamlesh. So we have a question from Shubham, and he has posted in the Q&A tab. Do you want me to read that for you? Because it's quite a lengthier question, I would say.
Yeah, sure. Just please.
So the question is, I'm currently working in production system which has 2 TB of RAM capacity. Currently, I have configured 600 GB only for buffer pool. My question is, my application behavior is read-write intensive in my environment. So should I plan to increase buffer pool for better performance during peak day traffic?
Yes, to answer your question, right? So you have a 2 TB RAM, so that's really great. I think you can fit most of your workload into the RAM itself. So 600 GB comparing 2 TB of RAM, I would say is very less. You can increase your RAM, and if you want to scale further, for example, you said your application is very much read-write intensive, and you want to scale further in the reads, right? You can have a replica configured on a load balancer. You can scale it, and as you said, you can also upsize your RAM. I hope I answered the question.
Let me unmute Shubham just to recheck if he has got the point. Hi, Shubham.
Hey, hi Santana, hi Kabilesh. Yeah,
Hi, Shubham.
means actually Kabilesh, like all those like architecture and configurations I am already having. Like we are already splitting the traffic for better read scaling. But my question was like, especially like we have some KPIs configured in our system. Because of that only, like we have started our production system with the low capacity only in terms of configuration. So currently we are running only 600 GB RAM configuration for the buffer pool, but we often see some of the performance issues in terms of slowness during the peak days. So should if I will recommend to increase the buffer pool, will it help me to increase the performance of my SQL? That was my
See,
actually question.
See again, coming back to you, Shubham. So the basic thing is like when your data set, right, and also the queries really matter here. Okay, so what actually the query you are running and profile your queries. So we might not see the slowness at the less peak time. That means in a normal time, these queries would run.
See,
When there is a
query
high concurrence.
most of the
So
queries
let
are
me.
already optimal. Only the concurrency of the query is very high. Like within a
Mhm.
second, there will be like thousands of or 500 of similar queries will be running on the system. So in that case, like increasing the buffer pool will help me. That is what my question.
See, for example, if it is a static workload, for example, I would say like your queries, you said your queries are optimized, right? So, for example, 500 of your application thread tries to access the same data, or it's like an OLTP workload. You can have some kind of a caching in the proxy SQL or some other caching to address this issue, and also you can also overlook your the complexity. You can reduce the complexity of the queries, rewrite the queries to have a uh, better means business logic also. You can try these things.
Okay. Okay. Thanks.
More questions?
Thank you, Shubham. Thank you, Kablish. I think one of our speakers is also having a question. So, Vaibhav, if you have a question, you can post it to Kabilesh.
Yeah, Kabilesh. So I would like to know more if you can share some details, as you mentioned on your slide, about the playback. Uh, if you can share some example there, that how did you use it? Is it for the benchmarking or
I see. Yeah, why not? So we are using it for the benchmarking. So as I said, right, playback is a tool from Percona toolkit, but it is an obsolete tool. That means it is no more into the active development. You should download it from the GitHub and do the testing. And as I said, right, and also we used MySQL Slab. We evaluated three tools. That is, first is a MySQL Slab, which we evaluated, which was failing on the concurrency. That means we are not able to generate the particular load which we are expecting. And then we tried the Percona playback. It also had some drawbacks. That means it is not under active support and certain features were missing. So what we decided to do was we built a framework, that is a DB replay framework. So wherein we collected the queries from the general log. For example, in a production system, right? Say from morning to evening, like in a 12 hours window, we just used to on the general log collect all the queries and then process the queries. That means segregate in the framework. There's a Python script that segregates reads as well as writes, and also it has a provision to have a mixed load. So we segregate it and we profile your system. That means it will be, the files will be a smaller one, and we can give the retry interval as well as a load, that is 2x or 3x. Based on that, it generates a load onto the system and profile the queries.
Okay, so that is something that you have developed in-house, I guess.
Yeah.
Okay, and with all the concurrency options and mocking the load with high concurrency.
Exactly.
Okay, great. Okay, all right. Yeah, thank you.
Thanks very much.
Thank you, Vaibhav. Thank you, Kamlesh. Thank you, Kamlesh, for an insightful and enlightening session on MySQL infra readiness for peak sale events. A session without questions is a session wasted. Here's our email address to which you can write an email with your questions, and we will be able to answer all relevant questions as early as possible. We are excited to be soon live. Relevant updates will be shared on our official page. For more details, please follow us on our social media handle and more content. And now that we have come to our end of the 11th Open Source Database Meetup, it's been an honor to be among such accomplished individuals and to be able to present our perspective before you all. Thank you all for being here today and taking the time to patiently listen and to hear what we have to say. I wish you all a blessed day and a great year ahead. And we also have a 12th meetup planned and scheduled for Jan 2022. And I hope to see you all again at our next meetup. Thank you all once again. See you.